we're recording. We do an interactive basic text workshop, facilitated by our very own Frankie from Bath. And tonight we are doing, God, what chapter is it? 9, Living the Program, isn't it? Living, just for today, Living the Program, chapter 9, and we're doing the first page, which I'm going to share. Yeah, got it there. So just quickly, most of you have been here before and know it. It's what we're looking for is people's experience. We'll read the passage, and then Frankie will share some experience and then ask some questions. And what we find is that not to sort of hurry people, but if we share a minute or two each time, we can put our hands up to answer a question. Of course, people can share back multiple times, and we're looking to hear from as many different people as possible to get different experiences. So like I say, not like a normal meeting where it's like a 4-minute sermon. We're looking for a minute or two on each question, and I think that's all I've got to say, isn't it, Frankie? I'll just pass it over to Frankie, and thanks for your service tonight, Frankie.
Thanks, Paul. Frankie, I'm an addict. It's lovely to see everyone. It's nice to see some regulars. Can we make Jo a co-host so she can hop in and out when she wants? Because
does Jo want to be a co-host? Is that okay, Jo?
She does.
I think it's for dictionary, Jo's dictionary corner. I think it's for that. Great. There you go.
Of course. Jo's been
get the dictionary,
doing service and participating, well, hijacked for quite a few meetings now. So just to give you a heads up, Jo, what we're going to be looking at is some words that will come up. One word will be ability, another word will be perspective, and so on and so on. Jo gets I'll understand that sometimes they'll look at some words because we don't realize how much, whether our education is different or whether our learning has been distorted through advertising or media, or just sometimes we want to know and have a common understanding of a word and what it means in the recovery text, because we know the answer isn't the text. The text might be a power greater than ourselves. The answer is in what we do. That's what recovery actually is. It's what we do. It's really good being knowledgeable. I'm quite knowledgeable because I've done a lot of the text and I've done a lot of workshops, and I've been through the steps several times, and this is quite a long way into the book. That's the reason why we're doing the Just for Today. And as some of you may know, if you look in the 6th edition of the basic text, if you look in this book, this is one of the most pages in the book, the Just for Today, because it's not only just for today, it's also living the program. And one of the things we'll throw out this week, to jump right in there, one of the things we'll throw out is we'll be asking you if you can give us some examples, as briefly as possible, of course, on the program that you have and how you work it. And we'll get to that. Yeah, a couple of minutes from me. I came to NA in 92 through H&I. I made every single mistake. One of the sponsees I have, he says the reason he asked me to sponsor him is because he'd heard that I'd made every single mistake you can make, from relationships, from being friends with people who I thought wanted recovery and they didn't, crossing town, chasing girls, selling tobacco, contraband in meetings, outside of meetings, thinking recovery was about going clubbing, spending loads of money on clothing and material goods. Yeah, I've made most mistakes, and I did that over a period of 10 years, amassing time, 9 months at a time, 6 months at a time, going through the step work, having brilliant ideas and thinking to myself, I really need to go and do a big book weekender, and going through and then coming back and thinking I have the power and they just have the crumbs because I'm getting the cake, and then 9 months later relapsing. That's why I like to keep things as real as possible by sharing my experience. And when it got to 2003, I was very knowledgeable. I could quote lines from the book. I'd been through the steps at least 4 times by then and had sponsored people. But I found myself at 30 days clean being thrown out of a treatment centre. And I also didn't understand what a rock bottom was, because I didn't understand that all rock bottoms are basically the same in kind. But they also have a trap door, rock bottoms. We think rock bottom's a done deal. We so much want a done deal in NA. It's a bit like, if anyone's, I was talking to Paul about this earlier before the meeting, if anyone's seen Fight Club, there's a saying in it, he says, when you buy that settee and you buy that fridge, you think that's it, you've got it, you step for life. And it's a little bit like recovery. When you go through the step work and so on, you think you're set for life. But no shit, it's a just for today program. You know, there's loads of people who wax lyrical, like I'm 19 years clean. You'll hear loads of idiots around my clean time who have got more clean time than me, who think they know some shit. Well, that's really arrogant in a just for today program. So they may have experience. That's true. I have experience. But it's still a just for today program, and our recovery is what we do. My recovery is what I do. So some days I'm off, some days I'm good, some days I seem to be masterful at it. Some days somebody with 3 months clean shares and I think I don't know anything. I'm thinking, fuck, I know nothing. You know? So yeah, so let's start off. Can we get somebody to read, Paul, will you get someone to read the just for today, like the card? Just for today.
Well, are we just doing we've got this, so are we just doing the first 8? Yeah.
First 8, yeah.
Yeah. So who's got their hand up first?
I think one of the Jerichos, I think, because they normally read it anyway.
Let's get you guys unmuted.
Thanks, Paul. I'm Mark and I'm an addict.
Mark.
1, just for today, living the programme. 2, tell yourself, just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. 3, just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. 4, just for today, I will have a programme. 5, I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. 6, just for today, through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. 7, just for today, I've been afraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using it and have found a new way of life. 8, so long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me kick this off. Okay, with number 2, tell yourself. Okay. It's not a study, it's a workshop. So what we're going to know, we just go for tell yourself, Paul. We'll go to the 2, what are they called? What's the 2 dots called?
Oh, colon.
Colon, yeah. I thought that was in my stomach, but there you go. Let's go. Tell yourself. So, for example, with me, for me to tell myself, when I was in treatment, or sometimes when I'm at a meeting, when I go home, sometimes I have to say, Frankie, what is your problem? What is your problem here? Sometimes I need to go back and I need to make amends, which is different from an apology. Sometimes I have to make an apology, but sometimes I have to talk to me. You know, some people have a committee. I don't know if we've got schizophrenia, but has anyone ever noticed there's a part of their self that watches their self think? So can we have 3 people to start off with and try and keep it simple to a minute, or just tell us some of your experience about when you talk to yourself about recovery, of course.
Okay, can we have a couple of hands up, guys, about I suppose it's like, I don't know, is
You're
it?
going to go first.
No, no, definitely not. But Lara's going to go first. Hang on, Lara. Matt will unmute you.
Hi guys, I'm Lara.
Hey, Lara.
So yeah, I experienced that just today, because I received a message from a friend, my used to be friend from Active Addiction, and all of a sudden the whole movie started like to run through my head, and I was like, really? Come on, stop now. And yes, I experienced talking with myself about recovery a lot, because sometimes my addict part wants to show me all the stories that I've been through and everything I want to forget. Like, he puts me in the view and I have to talk myself out and remember, just as you said. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. Much appreciated. Okay, Dave, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Dave. I'm an addict.
Hi, Dave.
So if we're just talking about tell yourself, I guess for me, it's, you know, it's going to sound really silly, but it's all about how I tell myself and speak to myself and the rhetoric I tell myself about myself on a cognitive basis. You know, if I continue to tell myself that I'm not worth it, I'm not worthy of anything, I'm a piece of shit, I've done this and I've done that, I'm going to behave in ways of that. I'm going to start to believe it and it'll become a behavioral issue then. If I tell myself that I'm worth it and I condition myself to a more positive mindset, then my perspective changes of myself. I start to believe in my own hype, my own positive hype, so to say. For me, it's all about positive reinforced conditioning, you know, and getting the benefits from doing the next right thing, doing the right thing, making those mistakes and making those amends, or more deeper apologies, like it's been mentioned. It's all about how I talk to myself. I'll leave it there.
Lovely, Dave. Thank you so much. That's the answer I wish I'd given when Frankie threw me the hot potato. Scott, can you come?
Hi guys, my name's Scott. I'm an addict. Yeah, I've been having this conversation with myself today, and the way Frankie put it about I'm watching myself have a conversation, and I need to go to work tomorrow. And I'm already thinking maybe I could use tomorrow because it's an opportunity. And then I'm telling myself, what the fuck are you doing? Tell yourself that you'd like to live and enjoy life without use to drugs, and I have to be debating that all day in my head. And the thing is, everything is going really well, and yet still, the obsession out of nowhere is because my brain has decided to tell me, oh, there's an opportunity, and the other side of my brain's telling me, don't fucking listen to that. Just enjoy life without the use of drugs, just for today. It's all a bit mental inside my head at the minute, so I like to be able to start it there. Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. That's and thanks, Dave, and thanks, Lara. That was absolutely brilliant. What a great way to kick off. You know, has anyone seen Gollum in Lord of the Rings? That bit where he starts talking to himself about wanting to nick the ring, and you know, he's saying, what's he called him? Said Frodo is good, is bad, and so on. I don't know if you've seen that scene where that's the best analogy I've seen of an addict wanting to use, you know, because he goes, he wants to keep the ring because he wants the power, doesn't he? It's a bit, if you get to see that sometimes, that's how my head goes, you know. So a bit like what Dave said, you know, with the positive reinforcement. If I'm going to be given and told so much bollocks in this world, I need to be the person who gives me the good stuff. I need to tell myself good stuff. I need to eat well, look after myself, and realize that a kind, loving thing is maybe going to bed early. You know, there's all these things I have to learn in recovery. If we move on to the next bit, which is just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery. Okay, and then we've got a comma. Living, enjoying life without the use of drugs. Would we have 3 people who'd like to tell us about how they think about their recovery and how they enjoy life.
Okay, get some hands up on that. Barry, this is you are up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Barry, and I'm an addict. And to start with, the question that you posed, Frankie, about watching yourself have a conversation, my initial thought was, well, not since I've been on ketamine. But then thinking more deeply, actually, then, yeah, there is that sort of that process going on. I think about just today, my thoughts beyond recovery. So I'm 28 days clean now. And within that has came a whole lot of positive change. And going to the gym every day, and along with that, eating better, drinking loads of water, going to bed at a decent time. And throughout that 28 days, there's been periods or a couple of days here and there where I haven't managed some elements of that. So I haven't managed to go to the gym, haven't managed to engage in literature, maybe haven't eaten as well. And I guess I'm quite lucky in that I've not had an urge to use, but I've felt that someone has been missing because the thoughts or my priorities or just life has happened that hasn't put recovery first within that time. And I actually think that the way the sentence is constructed is really important, because actually what I've experienced the past few weeks is that the actual living and enjoyment of life has only came through putting recovery first in those days. So I think actually the construction of the sentence is actually really important in where it places the priority. And that's certainly my limited experience so far of these past few weeks, but I certainly feel that I just need to keep doing this routine every day, and the things, exactly as you said, that are making you feel good, making you feel better, and that you know in your head are going to make you feel good. You can't be asked doing them, but you're going to feel great once you do them. And building those habits up rather than the habits of texting a man to get in the back of his car and picking up, you know. So yeah, I think that's a really powerful sentence in the way it's constructed, and that's sort of my experience the past few weeks.
Brilliant, Barry. Good to hear you. Thanks for sharing. Let's go to Louis and Chris, and then we'll get Reg.
Hey, my name is Louis. I'm an addict.
Louis.
Thank you so much for the meeting, and thanks for what I could hear so far. I was thinking when I heard about thoughts and thinking that I heard recently that the thoughts are the way my behavior crystallizes. And when I use, the crystal of recovery to move myself in life, it's so much better than when I use the crystal of addiction and self-pity and low self-esteem. And I do my mix in my kitchen. Today, I mix a bit of meaning, a bit of step working, a bit of friendship with other servitors that I love, a bit of listening to you guys. And that leads me to be free of obsession. And then I can make plans. I can cook good dinner for myself, which I did tonight. I can spend time with friends, including new friends that I know are respectful and that want to enjoy a way of life that I think is respectful and worth making effort. And there's so many things. I go running, I discover new piece of art, I go to the theater, I love discovering movies, I get into politics. I try to see the link between what I choose and what happens to me, and what I choose and what happens to others, because it's not all about me. It's about realizing that I'm a valuable part of this big thing called life, but it's not just about me. And it's crazy because it's not anymore about me surviving alone in my crazy mode where I need to take care that I'm going to have enough drugs. It's about me enjoying life without the use of drugs. And it works. And I learn it through NA, and I learn it through what you guys do and what you guys share. So I'm going to listen to you. Thank you.
Fantastic, Louis. Thank you for sharing. Lovely to hear you. Reg, please come in. Great to see you, Reg.
Yeah, I'm an addict. My name's Reg. Good to be here. Good to be anywhere. 71, hanging in, green side of the sod. Yeah, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. My sponsor says each one of these things in Just for Today is like a mantra. If you can repeat them over and over and just sit and quietly repeat those things, and then get them in your head so that they're there all the time. You know what I mean? He says they're like a mantra to him. Anyways, what I was doing today, my thoughts will be on my recovery and living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. I own a house with my son, his wife, and 2 grandkids because of recovery. You know, I've been clean a long time. And so I want to, I'm old, like I said, 71, but I want to watch them. They're 3 and 5, and I want to watch them maybe graduate, maybe even more than that. Now that means about, you know, probably 20 years. Like that means I got to be 91 just to watch them graduate. So I better stay healthy. And I've learned in recovery that what I'm feeling or what I'm feeling or thinking is really not the key point. That's what my sponsor tells me. It's what am I doing about it? This is an action program. You know, am I going to stay in bed, pull the covers over my head, or am I going to get up and do something about it? Am I going to stay in the closet on my knees praying and expect somebody's God's going to slide pancakes under the door and feed me? I'll fucking die. You know? So I have to get up and do something about my recovery. So today, and we're in the middle of a heat wave, and I'm on this kick trying to get healthy because I got a new routine going now. They're back east in Toronto. They're going to be back in 2 days. That's the son, my daughter-in-law, and the 2 grandkids. So I've had a little quiet in my life for the last few weeks, and I've changed my routine. I'm into intermittent fasting. I'm, eating only in a 6-hour window every day. I've lost 15 pounds. I'm trying to get back to my 195 that I was at before COVID, the fucking, pandemic happened. So that's what I did. I got up today and I went down because I've been doing this 10,000 steps. I do a walk along the shoreline, brisk walk along the shoreline. I'm not into running unless somebody's chasing me. And I went and did that this morning for my health, for my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. I got home, I've been to a meeting, then I'm now in a second meeting, and I'll probably go to a third meeting later today with some friends. You know what I mean? It's Monday night and I know where there's an in-person meeting. So I'll do 2 of these Zoomers and then I'll go and do an in-person one tonight. Oh, I got my fucking vaccination, my second fucking booster the other day. So, here I am, chugging along, but I'm in the action of it. That's it. What am I doing today? Doesn't matter how trust me, I didn't feel like going and fucking doing a 5K fucking, walk this morning. I did not feel like that. But I knew if I didn't go and do it, like I've been doing every day, I've been doing this every day, for the last few weeks and into my new routine, I gotta live myself into a new way of feeling, so that I'm happy and healthy. I can't think myself into a new way of feeling. I have to live it. I have to do the action. And that's what I've learned in this program, and a lot of times I also think about your previous question. What would my sponsor say? What would somebody in recovery say when my addiction is talking to me in my head, in my voice, which makes it even scarier because it doesn't talk to me like Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd, because then I'd know it was my addiction. But when it's talking to me in my voice, I think, what would my sponsor say? What would one of my sponsees say? What would somebody who's 100% in recovery say? Like, that's how I do the duality when I have those thoughts in my head. But anyways, love you guys. Glad you're having a meeting, and I'm glad I jumped in. I'm just going to sit and listen here again. I can go off. You know what I mean? That's how I am. I can go off. But thank you.
Great to hear you.
And if anybody's out there and they're thinking to themselves, what does Reg mean? What voice is that voice? If you had just said to you, what voice is he talking about? It's that voice. That's the voice we're talking about. So on number 3, the next one, just for today, we're not trying to work anyone out here to become a schizophrenic, This is just how it goes sometimes for some of us. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Let me explain something about faith, because faith is one of those words that can get hijacked. And Joe, if you fancy looking faith up, we'll probably have a good example in the dictionary about getting hijacked with the word faith. Well, what I was told was with faith, for example, if my car breaks down and I go up to Paul and I say to Paul, my BMW's broken down, can I get it fixed? And he says, I don't know, but speak to Matt, because Matt's car broke down and he went to this garage and got it repaired. So I phone Matt up and I say to Matt, how was that garage? Did they repair your car? He said, yeah, they repaired my car. He said, trust me, they're okay. Well, I only trust him. I don't have faith. Okay. But when I take my car to be repaired and the garage fixes my car, the next time when something goes wrong and I have to ask Matt something, I have faith in Matt because I have experience. Because when I dealt with him and asked him about getting the car fixed, he pointed me to a garage, and with his experience now, I know that he's sent me in the right direction. That's why if you're ever in the street and you stop someone and ask them for directions and they say, I think it is, forget that person. Totally forget them. We always do something based on experience. So if I have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery, I need to have some experience of them. To have blind faith with a sponsor, I suggest you go out and have tea with that sponsor a couple of times. I suggest you get a bit more knowledge around that person and see how they tick, because they might be a staff sergeant. They might be one of these sponsors who says, when I tell you how to jump, you ask me how high. You know, it might not work for you. So can we have 3 people to share on their faith in someone in their program or in NA who believes in them?
Yeah, and maybe what that's based on to take up your point, that would be good as well. So we've got someone in Jericho with their hands up, then we'll go to Stuart. So 2 minutes from each of you guys would be great.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Sean, I'm an addict.
Hi, Sean.
Thanks, guys, for taking the meeting. So I've struggled to have a bit of faith with my key worker, who's basically my sponsor. I struggle with trust, you know what I mean? And because I'm in treatment, you know what I mean, I've got barriers up. I kind of see the staff in here as authority, you know what I mean? I kind of forget that they're also addicts just trying to help me. So one certain situation was like when I'm phoning my ex-partner to speak to the kids, and my sponsor he never really challenged me on it. He just says that I've been hearing you've been speaking to, it's been like 70% speaking to your ex-partner and 30% speaking to the kids, and I totally got out of joint through it. I think one of the reasons is I hate to think that I'm doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? I want to do everything perfectly. But then a couple of days stewing on it, you know what I mean? I wanted to leave and everything just because I felt as if I was doing something wrong, when I felt I was trying to apply myself to the best of my ability. But then a couple of days later, I really try to be honest with myself, you know what I mean? He's only wanting to see what my motives are, and he's only got my best interests at heart at the end of the day. So from that, I'm just completely putting my faith in this person and trusting the guy, you know what I mean? Because when I says to him that I was really uncomfortable about the question, he says, Sean, I'm not really having a dig at you, but he says, I've got to make sure that you're doing everything for the right reason, for your own benefit, basically. So that's what I got for that. So cheers, guys, for letting us talk.
Thank you, Sean. Good to hear you. And Joe, would you please give us the dictionary definition of the word faith? I'll just, you can unmute, I think. There you go, asking. I think me and Matt will both, there you go.
Right, so, hi, I'm Joe, I'm an addict. So faith, definition of faith, to have complete confidence or trust in someone or something.
Okay, hang on, just to add to that, Andy from Dallas sent me something in the chat. Faith, unquestioning belief that doesn't require proof or evidence, complete trust, confidence, reliance. So there's a slightly different, are you talking, Frankie? You know you're muted. No, were you just like talking to yourself like earlier? Tell yourself. Okay, so Stuart, you got 2 minutes, my man.
Yeah, good afternoon. Stuart, good to recover now. So you get the definition there.
I think we can hear your telly in the background, Stuart. Are you there? Did Stuart just bounce out the meeting, Matt? I think he did, yeah. Okay, let's go straight to Louis and Chris.
Chris, I'm an addict.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, faith. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA. Complete confidence that things will work out. I'm on holiday, and I came to Paris. I have known Louis for all of, I don't know, maybe like, I spoke to him for maybe about 20 minutes at a convention. I got his number off someone, and then, because I'm like, hey, I'm going to Paris, maybe. He's like, oh, you could stay at my house, and whatever. And so I just got on a train, and I'm in Paris, and he gave me directions. I stood in a street corner for like a quarter of an hour, and he put me up in his car, and I'm here. And I didn't for 1 second have like any, it's just a weird thing. I didn't have any doubts or anything. I'm like, well, you know, he's a guy from NA. And the past, what, 6 years I've been going to meetings, and the experience I've had from knowing members and people that work a good program, there's nothing really to fear. There's nothing to worry about. And I took a leap of faith, came to Paris. It's turned out all right. Yeah, it's weird what happens in recovery. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Great to meet you tonight. Great to see you. Have a great time in Paris. Camilla, would you like to come in?
Yes, thank you. Hello, hello, hello. I'm an addict named Camilla from Chicago. Hello. And I really love this Just for Today. For me, it epitomizes the entire NA program in just 5 little sentences. But the one that I really love is, just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Our fellowship, our symbol tells us it's based on goodwill. Step 12 says that having acquired these spiritual principles, we strive to live to live and to help somebody else, to live by them and to help somebody else. And that's the whole basis of our program, is people who want to help each other get this life of recovery. And I know that I am very, very grateful for the life that I have. And having been through the steps a few times, I really, truly want to help somebody else get it too. And so this just epitomizes the whole thing for me. I believe in you, that you can have a life of total self-acceptance and joy and peace and serenity, because I have been able to achieve it, because I have worked my recovery. And I want to help you get that, just as many, many other people helped me to get it and are still helping me to get it. And so for me, this is the embodiment of the goodwill that is the basis of our entire program. Our symbol talks about that. We have a universal program that will work for absolutely anybody in the universe. And it is based on goodwill, both for the individual and for the group. And this sentence just says it. You know, I will have faith in someone in NA. I have faith in the program. I have faith in the process, the steps of work to change us. And so that lets me have faith in NA and that I can get better if I come and I do the work. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Camilla. Lovely to see you here tonight. Thank you for sharing that beautiful message. And we're going to go lastly, I think, before we move on, let's go back to Jericho Boys.
Hi, my name's Martin. I'm an addict.
Hi, Martin.
Thanks, Paul, for chairing the meeting and everybody doing service. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA. Having faith in NA, having faith in anyone, something I've always really struggled with. Growing up in the environment I grew up in, the community, on the streets, in a scheme environment, you never looked to have faith in anybody or anything. You just kind of acted in survival mode. So having faith in someone in NA, I'm trying to find faith in somebody in NA, trying to find faith in NA, faith in a higher power, and try to find faith in having faith. So I'm starting to feel the benefits of just completely surrendering, starting to see wee things happening in my life, even in the last couple of weeks, that wouldn't have happened when I was back out there. So I just want to come in and share that. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Martin. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to have faith in someone. When you come into the program, it's a bit different when you've been around for a while because you have experience, because it's all experience-based program. But imagine when you're new, if you think about just going back to using, you didn't have faith in someone if you gave them their money to go and buy drugs for you. You trusted them. And sometimes they never came back, or they came back with plastic or some nonsense, OXO cube, so what the reason I'm pointing forward to on this one is for us to understand that having relationships in recovery with people in recovery, whether they're a sponsor or whether they're somebody who goes to meetings with you, or whether they're somebody who does service at a meeting, which is a good one, because if somebody does service at a meeting, you can guarantee that to a certain extent that they're working a program, because this is the weird thing about NA. You have about 5 commitments in a meeting, and if you work a program in Narcotics Anonymous, you also do service. So hold on a second, what we got here? 30 participants in the meeting and 6 people doing service. Okay, so starts to make you think a little bit. So let's have 3 people who can say, for today, I will have a program. 3 people, 2 minutes each, to tell us how they work their program.
Nice one, great question. Reg, please come in.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm answering the right question. I was still thinking about the one previous. But
just go for it, Reg, whatever you like.
Okay. I just wrap up on what you were just talking about previous. I'm thinking about an early recovery, and I was having lots of problems with faith, all that stuff. And I was listening to a tape. I don't know, maybe some of you people here probably know who I'm talking about, Dutch from Philadelphia. He passed away during the pandemic. And, he had 50 some years clean. And I was listening to one of his tapes, right? I was listening to one of his tapes, and he was talking about his first sponsor, and he was sitting at the kitchen window, and they were having a conversation about step 2. And he said, his sponsor told him, if you looked out that window and you see that 3-story building across the road and the one across the road from it, he said, yeah. He said, well, he says, I would like to think you would. And if I told you, I'm going to get on a tightrope trapeze and walk across the street from one building to the other. He says, I like to think that you would have a little bit of hope that I could do that. That's all I'm asking you. Would you have a little bit of hope that I could do that? And he said, well, yeah, of course I would have a little bit of hope. He said, because hope is choosing to believe in a positive for no logical reason. That's what starts with. That's what starts. We hope we can get clean. We hope we can get a life. And then the next thing is, after you start coming to meetings or seeing people in rooms, or in this example, seeing people, if he got on that tightrope and he walked across the street and back, you would start to have a little faith that he could do that, because you've seen him do it. He's done it, and he's done it. And then if it's raining or snowing or sunny, he's out there every day, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You'd have a lot of faith, right? You'd have a lot of faith that he could do that. But if the building is on fire now and you're in the stairwell, right? You're in the stairwell, you can't go down. This is what his sponsor's telling him. And you rush up to the roof. And guess what? I'm standing on the roof. And there's the trapeze. But I've got a wheelbarrow today, right? And he says, when you have trust, you'll get in that wheelbarrow and I'll whip you across. And trust is going to come from a whole bunch of faith. And faith you see through actions, right? And people in the program getting lives, not as crazy as they used to be when they first come in. So there's that process, hope, faith, trust, right? Anyways, I don't know. I just kind of went off again. I warned you I can go off, but I'm going to stop talking now.
Thanks, Reg. Always lovely.
Well, you was in the 2 minutes, Reg. Can we go the next 4 and then we'll move on?
Yeah, so the question is, what, just for today, we'll have a program. How do you work your program? What does your program look like? And is it Jericho? Yeah, Jericho boys.
Thanks, Paul, for chairing the meeting, mate. And thanks, Frankie, for taking the meeting also, mate. I appreciate it. For me, just for today, I'll have a program. If I've not got this program and I'm not working a program in my life, I'm fucked, basically. Having come into NA in 2016 and doing a load of work in myself, going through the steps and getting to multiple years clean, for me, I got complacent in my recovery and I took being clean for granted and stuff, because the simple fact was that I'd stopped. I put other things before my recovery. The gifts that I received in recovery, they were more important than kind of going to meetings, working with a sponsor. I had been through the steps. I was in a good place, you know what I mean? And I took it and I never used it again. But sadly for me was I stopped putting the graft in. And sadly, I got to 3 years clean and I relapsed. I'm back. I'm now back in the treatment centre where I first got clean. So I had to be fucking accumulated before I could find accumulate again. And it's only took me 2 years to get back. So what I'm trying to say is, if I've not got this program, I'm not trying to work the program. I know this stuff works if you work it, but for me, when I stop working it, I become fucking sick very, very quickly. Do you know what I mean? It's a daily reprieve for myself. I wasn't going to meetings. I was being dishonest and spinning too many plates. Fucking physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually dead. Do you know what I mean? It just catches up with you, and that's my experience. Is if I'm not doing this stuff, I'm not the best recovering addict by a long fucking stretch of imagination. But today, I'm back at. Hopefully that relapse will be my jarring experience to get back on the ball and stuff. And it's that I've got to get up every morning and try and be disciplined with this stuff. The days I fall short, I've got to get up and pray and hand my will, my life over. I've got to meditate. I've got to read my just for the day. I've got to read the literature. I've got to try and talk in meetings. I'm fucking self-obsessed and know what to talk to meeting tonight. But that's the stuff I wasn't doing when I was doing well. Do you know what I mean? I would go to a meeting, tell anybody I wasn't doing well, wasn't sharing my thinking, and just fucking did. When it was time to fucking using it became a relief. You know what I mean? So I'm just very grateful that I've been given a second chance, because like us all, I've lost a lot of family, I've lost a lot of friends, man, and I know a lot of people don't get back. So I'm one of the lucky ones, you know what I mean? I'll go to my bed tonight, it's another day winning the battle. So I'm just glad to be unclean. Thanks.
Amazing, great to hear from you. Rhonda, you're up just slightly to refine the question. I will have a program. Can I just ask you oh, we're getting some feedback. Because we're on Just for Today, what does the program look like just for today? Let's get you unmuted.
Hi, my name is Rhonda. I'm truly an addict, clean today. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about, or just respond to what Frankie was talking about with service, because that was a piece that I did not do before in my recovery. And so this time, like, I moved to a new area. I don't know the people here, but I picked a home group that was 2 minutes away. And so for the last 2 weeks, I got to say, first of all, I don't like going to evening meetings, because that is my time that I like to shut it down, and I don't want to be bothered with anybody. But in trying to do something different, I show up to the meeting 30 minutes early. I wait outside. The first time I was there, I just asked the person with the key, what can I do? You know, and he was like, oh, we'll just set up the meeting. So the last week, I showed up again early, and I just set up the meeting, and I stood outside as a greeter, right? And I hugged people so that I could get out of myself and do something different. So that's one aspect I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Great, Rhonda. Thanks for your service. We're going to Jericho Girls, and then we'll get Dave in, will we, Frankie, and then go to the next. Is that cool?
Thanks, Paul. I'm Moira. I'm an addict.
Hi, Moira.
Just for today, I will have a programme. Yeah, so today, my programme, I was up early this morning, I prayed, read the little JFT book, done a bit of yoga, stretching in the morning, which is something that really helps me settle my head. Had breakfast with the ladies. I'm here in the treatment centre. We do a group in the morning based on the JFT. We've celebrated Leslie's birthday today, which has been amazing. You know, had loads of fellowship this afternoon, had a bit of a sing-song. It's been really great, actually. Done a bit of service. Me and another woman's on the kitchen this week. Done a bit of step work just before coming on the meeting, actually, and now I'm on the meeting tonight. So that's how I've worked my programme today.
Thank you, Moira. Great to hear from you. And Dave, please come in.
Yeah, I'm Dave. I'm an addict. So I've just been thinking about these 4 little simple words. I will have a program, and where that thinking is taking me is that today I have a choice of what program I work. I can either work my program, which on the whole generally doesn't work. I end up making loads of mistakes. My thinking can be a little bit catastrophic, all of that nature. Or I can work a program of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, putting people first, what they feel, what they think, stuff of that nature. And when I apply that stuff in my life, I find life doesn't become overwhelming. I'm very easy in it. My relationships, I can manage and I don't struggle within. And on the flip side of that, when I'm working my program, because the truth is, sometimes I do work my program, my own program. I can struggle, you know, and I have a few days under my belt. I've been around a while and I've been through the work. But the problem is, if I go through the work, I have to apply the work and the knowledge and the awareness. If I don't, then what am I left with? I have to develop that trust and that faith within the program of Narcotics Anonymous. Like it's been mentioned, it's all an evidential-based process. And that for me was starting with a sponsor. And that's what the program looks like for me today. You know, reaching out to people, not allowing myself to fall into the trap of belief that I know everything and I know all the answers. Because what I've found is I can think my way into a problem really easily. But what I can't do most of the time for myself is think my way back out of that problem. I'll leave it on this. I said to my partner the other day, who's one of us, I came up with a really good idea, and so she shut it down in the way that she does. And then I text her saying, I have all the best ideas until I speak to you, you know, and that just sums it up to me that I need people in my life to be my eyes and ears. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Jericho. One of the things I just want to stick in before we go to the next line is that I found when I started working with people and doing service, and I started to be supportive and more sponsorship, it wasn't just about sharing step work, sponsorship, service. It became more. It became, well, as I work my program, I have a responsibility. I put in tradition 7, only what I can afford. I used to make mistakes in early days. I'd try and put in too much, or I'd show off. But it's all part of the program of giving. There's all these little bits which start to happen, especially as we move on further the program and we go on and more understand how we cause harms. So if we can go over to Joe, and Joe's going to tell us about ability, we'll take it from the next line and 3 people after that. Paul, is that okay?
Sure. Joe, can you unmute and tell us the definition of ability, please?
Yeah, I am Joe. I'm an addict. So the definition, it says possession of the means or skill to do something, existing competence or skill to perform a specific physical or mental act.
Fantastic, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. So specify a skill or act, to follow it to the best of my ability. You know, how much ability or how much effort do we put in to the program? The only me after 10 years, I had to live it 24/7 for 2 years, and I became absolutely insane with the program, but I needed that brainwash. I needed to be brainwashed. So, does anyone share that? Can we have 3 people, Paul, to share, you know, what Annie lent, so to speak, what we say in Narcotics Anonymous as was we prepared to do, go to Annie Lentz?
Yeah, the other one you hear is, of course, the other cliche is to be putting as much effort into your recovery as you did your using. I hear that one quite a lot.
That one doesn't work, does it? Because someone said that to me the other day. They asked me to go share in Oxford, and I said, "Oh no, I can't do it." And they said, "Yeah, but if you put as much effort into, you know, your recovery as, you know, you did into your using." And I was like, "Well, who do I go and rob so I can go and do a share in Oxford?" You know, it would sound like NA blackmail to me.
So what's the question?
Okay, people to share experience, 3 hands up, letting us know what was what extreme lengths they went to work to follow the program, or tried to follow it to the best of my ability. What you had to do, to travel 100 miles? Did you have to sit in a meeting and be quiet? What did you have to do?
Camilla.
Hi, I'm an addict named Camilla, and I actually looked up the word program, because what are we following? Program, a plan of action to accomplish a specified end. That's definition 1. And definition 13, to cause, to absorb, or incorporate automatic responses, attitudes, and the likes, a condition, so as to achieve something. And that, you know, I mean, just for today, I will have a program. What is a program? And I'm following to the best of my ability. This is a proven plan for putting the disease of addiction in jail. This is a proven plan for recovering from the disease of addiction. And for me, it incorporates a lot of things. Yes, meetings absolutely are essential. It's important that I talk to people in recovery, that I think about recovery. I want to practice, I want to work the steps, and I work the steps so that I know them well enough that I start to live them. Because that's what our program teaches us, is that any addict can stop using, lose a desire to use, and find a new way to live. That new way of live becomes a life. And how am I going to live today? By accordance with spiritual principles. And that's what the program is. It teaches us spiritual principles so we can live by them. It is absolutely essential to do step work, because it's only through doing step work that we change. And that change takes us from a hopeless, helpless state of being to happy, joyous, and free.
Camilla, have you got one living example of working the program to the best of your ability, where you thought this is at any stage of your recovery, where you've gone above and beyond?
I do service always for Narcotics Anonymous. My home group is Loving Our Long Timers, a speaker meeting with 30 speakers with 30 years or more clean. And I'm the chairperson. And I have come home after driving, I drive for a living. I've come home after driving for 15, 20 hours and gone to bed and gotten up 3 hours later to get up and chair the meeting, and then gone back to bed again, because chairing the meeting was that important to me, that I was going to make sure that that got done. And for me, that's having a program. It's doing the things that are I have committed my life to, regardless of how hard it is or how inconvenient it is, because I have integrity and because living by the program is the most important thing in my life, because it is now become who I am.
Thank you, Camilla.
Thank you, Camilla.
Thank you, Camilla. That's really wonderful. Thank you. I always was thinking about when I was a newcomer, if anyone knows London at all, I lived in North London and my sponsor lived over in Victoria in South London. And he used to say to me, I have to be to him by 9 o'clock so he could do the step walk. And for me at the time, for me to get across London and turn up somewhere at 9 o'clock in the morning when I was 30 days clean was not an easy task, even though I'd get up 3 hours early. So, and just share an example was to be a little bit diverse here. So Jericho boys, and then we'll move on to line number 6, yeah?
Conrad.
Hi, my name is Conrad. I'm addict.
Hey, Conrad.
Thank you, Paul, for chairing the meeting. Thank you, Frank, for your workshop. And I don't have too much experience with this. I'm still on the rehab a few months. And but what's that mean for me? Always take any suggestion what staff members gave me. For example, when I came here, I was thinking I need to give my best shot, and even if I've never seen a sense of doing something or I wasn't agree, still I was doing this. For example, my praying, I never seen sense why I need to pray, but very early in my recovery, I will start praying. Then next things is like break my fear. Like they telling me you should do more share, even if I was feel like fear, I was trying to push myself and share a little bit, and now every time I can see is more and more the same. Now is the same with build up my fellowship out. Sometimes I feel no, it's like self-talk. Maybe I shouldn't call to this person because what I can tell them, but even this, I'm just trying to press the call and then it's just carry on. So break my fear and doing things what people tell me, even if I can't see the sense. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you.
It's lovely to hear you, Conrad.
Just guys, remember the pivotal word in that line on number 5 was try. Okay, doesn't mean we'll be successful. We try, and that's all we've got is we try as best we can. So next line number 6 is just for today through NA. I will, and here's that word again, try. I will try to get a better perspective on my life. So we hand over to Jo because she looked up the word perspective.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm an addict. So the ability to understand what is important and what isn't, a particular attitude towards, a way of regarding something, a point of view.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks, Jo. That's a real good thing for people who sit quiet in the meetings and watch how the meeting plays through, because you get the perspective of the meeting and then you see the people who want to knee-jerk share and the ones who come from experience and the ones who don't quite hear the question correctly, and we get a perspective on how the meeting's going to play out, and it takes time sometimes to be able to do that. I've never quite mastered it, and so the next one is just for today through NA. I will try to get a better perspective on my life. So I think first up we've got Rhonda and then Camilla again.
Hi, Rhonda, and I need your my hand up in the air.
That's fine. I'm just sometimes I do things to rattle cages.
Because that is like my my favorite out of the whole thing. Like if I don't remember anything on a daily basis, I remember that because my thinking is so skewed. My personality is so fractured. Like honestly, like for example, I'll give you a real life example today. So I was at like the nailery or whatever, And I didn't even realize that it was next door to like the liquor store where I used to buy liquor all the time, right? So I go out in my car, mind you, now I've put this, and I know a lot of people are going to challenge this, but I have, I have a sticker on the back of my car that says a proud member of the No Matter What Club. And that's for me to look at every day, to try to retrain my thinking and remember that I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. So like, I was sitting there in my car for a minute and I was watching like the people go by, you know, you could tell, because you know us, we go to the liquor store, we getting ready to cop, right? And I'm looking and all of a sudden I realized like I was like a deer in headlights. I was like almost about to get caught up in the fact that, oh my God, they get to drink and I don't. And then I remembered the perspective that's on the back of my car right now, just for the, you know what I'm saying? Just for the day, I can think about like what happens. I can play the tape all the way through because of Narcotics Anonymous. I understand my dilemmas and I'm an addict. It doesn't end at the liquor store for me. It ends up really, really badly, right? So thank God for the program and being able to get that better perspective today. So I didn't use, yeah. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Rhonda. Great to hear you. We'll go Camilla and then Louis and Chris. Please come in, Camilla.
Hi, I'm glad this is a meeting where you can share more than once. I hope I'm not overdoing it.
Not at all.
There was a group of 5 or 6 of us in a weekly meeting who talked for 3 weeks about perspective and perception. And we came to a really, really good understanding of it. Perspective is how you look at things, and perception is what you think about the things you look at. And the perfect example was if you're standing on a railroad tracks and you look down the rails, you're standing between them, you can see that they meet. You can see down the horizon, those 2 rails meet, and that is your perspective. And so your perception, what you think about it, is that railroad ties meet, rails meet. But then if you go in a hot air balloon along them, you can go along them forever and you see that they never meet. And now your perception, what you think about it, has changed. You know they never meet. And you can go back on the ground and look at them again and get that perspective that they meet, but your perception knows better. You can have multiple perspectives, but you only have one perception. And the point of getting a better perspective on my life is so that I can think about my life differently. So my perception is different. One of our original members said, you only have to change one thing when you come into NA. And the treatment centers say everything. But what this man said is, I have to change the way I think about myself. And if I think of myself as a worthless, no good, using junkie, I will never get recovery. That is my perspective of who I am. And so I have to change my perspective so that I know that I can become a recovering addict, person with spiritual principles and a love of life. That's a completely different perception of who I am. That's what I need to change. So today through NA, I will try to look at myself differently, to see my assets, to see what I can become, to see what I could change myself into being. And that is why we try to get a better perspective so that we can think about ourselves better. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Camilla. That was lovely. I love how that tied back in with the first question about tell yourself. There was a nice symmetry there. By the way, quick plug for Camilla's, the group she's part of. If you go to anylongtimers.com, all our predecessors are on there. I was on a speaker jam they had the other night. Sorry to digress, and it was phenomenal. We were hearing which members gave which lines to this text that we're reading, and it's, if you've got an interest in history, I would check it out, anylongtimers.com. Sorry for keeping you waiting, Louis, please, or Chris, whichever one it is.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna jump in. My name is Louis. I'm a grateful recovering addict. So good to hear you. The word that stuck me in this line is through NA. I like that it's written through NA and not in NA, because what I experience is like lots of people tend to get married to NA and evolve in NA and kind of get prisoners in NA, whereas it's written black on white, like it's through NA. You're supposed to go back to your best life with everything you got in NA, you know, your ability, your trust, your hopes, your faith, your perspective, everything. You take this and you live your life outside, because the still suffering addict is not in NA, it's outside. You need to reach out. So that for me is a precious word. And there's something that is tied for me personally, because I'm French and I have an ability to understand English, but it's not illimited. But I use this ability to learn to read English, to go back to the original form of NA, which was written in English, to get a better perspective on what is NA. Because where I live, and I don't say this to criticize, I say this to give you a perspective on what it is to recover in another language than in English. You get the NA message translated. You don't get the pure, clear, crystal clear NA message. You get the translated NA message, which means if someone doesn't have a full understanding of the program or the best perspective, well, maybe they translated it differently. And in our translation, for example, we don't have the through. We don't have the through. It's translated differently. So for me to use meanings in English and other perspective through what you guys shares, it really helps me get the core of NA, and that has an impact in my spirit, in the way I see what recovery could give me if I use it, if I practice it. And it's been a tremendous relief, because I have to say something that make me want to use sometime is the difficulty I have in NA. You know, we all have difficulties, but I would love to think we're a big family and we understand each other, but sometimes we struggle to understand each other. It's tough, you know, we come from various lifestyle and we have histories, and it's difficult to understand what is to cross someone's feet, and we suffer. But when I go in another room, in another language, and I hear another literature meeting, like a NA-based language, it say through NA, it doesn't say through the fellowship or through the program. It say through NA, which is a fellowship and a program. You know, we need personality to carry the principles, but we need principles to have integrity in personalities. And this for me is all related, but at the same time, it's good when I get the English version of NA, because it's a different perspective from the French one. And it really got me stay in NA, because sometimes the fellowship, it gets on my nerves so bad that I think I'm out of NA, it's over. There is no hope here. And then I hear it's for the newcomer. It's for the still suffering addict. It's for the one who has the desire. And I see that in the rooms when I just go to another room, when I keep coming back. And for me, that's a good perspective. I'm getting emotional.
Thank you, Lewis. That was absolutely wonderful, wasn't it, Paul? That was absolutely wonderful. See, one of the things with Narcotics Anonymous and work in a program is one of the things that can bring us to a place of really enjoying life and understanding why we enjoy life. And also those who don't, you know, there's nothing worse than when you're in early days and you're not feeling too good and someone bounces into the meeting and it's raining outside and they're saying, hey, it's just liquid sunshine. You know, it's like, fucking, you know, get a life, drop me out. Everyone's got so different take on things, and we are all different. As it says in the book, it says we do all recover at different rates and different speeds, you know. And one of the things with that is being an addict, and I can hear it with Lewis. I hope you don't mind me calling you out, Lewis, but I can hear it with Lewis. I have a good guess Lewis was maybe an addict like myself. I always wanted the best drugs. I never wanted the shit drugs. I always wanted the best quality I could get. So what happens is, as an addict nature, I come into NA and I buy the book. I want the program. I want why wouldn't I want everything? You know, I'm an addict. I want absolutely everything. It's like Rhonda turns up, she's got a book and everything. I really identify with all of that. I want this. And the program only works if we want it. You know, I identify with doing 3 hours and then waking up and going to a meeting to do service, you know, thankless service. People don't always thank you, but we do it. You know, I'm 19 years clean taking this group because NA's give me a life that I enjoy, you know. So let's move on to number 7, because it's like an instruction, number 7, isn't it? Just for today, I will be unafraid. It's like, when did I stop being frightened, you know? When did I start getting this courage? When did I start getting this hope that Reg was talking about? You know, happy our program exists. When did I start getting all that stuff? You know, my thoughts will be on my new associations. Remember at the beginning about telling ourselves stuff. So now the Just for Today is telling us how to direct our thoughts. You know, it makes me wonder sometimes when English isn't your first language. Do you think in English? Do you think it? How do you get this? You know, it can't be straightforward and easy. And it tells me where to go with it. My thoughts will be on my new associations. There's no point in going back and seeing the dealer and pulling out your basic text and reading it to him. That don't work. You know, of course it doesn't work. People are not using and have found a new way of life. That's the clue to the people to hang out with, you know. If you want to be really, really rich, if you want to be super fucking wealthy, hang out with people who work in the money markets or work in the city around finance. But if you want to get recovery, hang out with the recovery people, you know. Try not to go back and show off to the people from the past because they're gone, they're history. You want a new way of life when you pick up a white key ring? You ask for a new way of life and we give you one. Go on, Paul. You going to run through it?
Sure. Again, which bit are we focusing on?
Number 7.
Yeah, I know, but what was the question?
Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on new associations, people are not using and found a new way of life. Can we have experience of something what people now do different? New thoughts they have, new associations, you know. How do they think differently? What their dreams? What do they want to do? You know, who do they hang out with now?
So Jericho girls, can someone give us your experience or your feelings, your thoughts around this line number 7? Go with it wherever you want. Get you unmuted. It's Tracy, is it?
Yes, it's Tracy.
Yeah, good to see you, Tracy.
I call you too. Yeah, I think I'm going to answer this properly. I'm 2 weeks in recovery, but to thank you. But today I am definitely unafraid, and I'm with my new associates, learning the program from those who came before, different ages, different stages. I've said that a few times, but it's so relevant. And I'm maybe a knee jerk because I totally lit up when that one came on because I thought, God, that's just speaking to me. Yeah, and I am doing it differently. I've been in treatment, 2 treatment centres prior to here, and the main difference for me, the ladies here will have heard me sharing this a few times, is that I want to be here. And it wasn't I didn't want to be in the previous treatment centres, but I thought they would fix me and do it to me, and I'd magically just, you know, become better. And this time, I not only knew that I needed help, but I wanted it, and I was willing to do whatever it took. So, yes, so thank you. Hopefully as the newcomer. That's I hope I've hit the right note there. Thank you very much.
Tracy, that was very powerful. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else? Anne-Marie's normally got something to say. I can't believe. No? Yes? Come on. Here she goes.
I was too afraid there, but I'm not now. I'll just be unafraid right now. I don't even know what to say on that. I thought what Tracy, I liked what Tracy said actually. Just for today, she'll be unafraid. And all I could think about anyway is before I came into treatment, and in fact, most of my life has been run by fear. And I'm like, what is it? I was always afraid of, that I'm now unafraid of, and I think maybe it was like right back to the beginning. Tell yourself. I think it was just everything I told myself my whole life. I was worthless. What I had to say. I would never get this programme. I'm no good enough. Now all that and through coming into this treatment centre and having to do the programme, like I've learned that now I'm good enough. I don't need to be afraid. And it's times, you know, when I'm going through the steps, I've become unafraid. And my new associations are the people in the treatment centre. And I think it was Frankie that was saying, I know, or hang me, Francois. You don't need it. It's diverse now. You don't need to be the same as anybody else, or better or less than. It doesn't matter who people are. There's a place for everybody in the programme, and there isn't anything to be scared of, as I've found out the more I go on with the steps. So stick out your pipe and smoke a ball.
That's what happens when you get weaponized by the basic text, Anne-Marie. Beautiful, thanks for sharing. And Jericho boys, please come in. Somebody give us your experience on this. I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life.
Thanks, Paul. I'm John. I'm an addict.
Hi, John.
Thanks to yourself, Paul, for making the meeting possible, and for Frankie for taking the workshop and everybody else's comments. Today I'm unafraid as well. My full life has consisted with fear, that Anne-Marie was saying there. Every morning, I opened my eyes, I was wondering where I was getting my next bag of gear, or who I was going to try and manipulate to get money off, and X, Y, and Z. And then as well with the fear, I was scared. Not, I mean, I was feared about people thought of me. I can still be to the day. Right now, I'd be a liar if I said I was totally unafraid. My head comes on and it's like, don't come in and share. But I need to go against the grain, and then it's my thoughts will be on my new associations. My new associations, obviously the boys in the treatment centre. The day I got up, I done my readings and stuff like that, and we done the Just for Today. Then there's a chapel at the bottom of the rehab, and I went down with a few boys, and we done a bit of recovery and relapse, and I do that as well. So that's something that's different. It's taking a bit of action, you know what I mean, and my recovery with my new associations, and then along with that as well, fellowship. Once we get in time outs as well, there's been people who stuck by me through thick and thin, you know what I mean, because my journey's been plain sailing, mate. My experience has been in and out like a fucking yo-yo, you know what I mean. There's been some people who've asked a hundred of me as well, been in after coming into fellowship, you know what I mean, but there's been some that have stuck by, so I'm grateful for that, you know what I mean. And people who are not using have found a new way of life. I need to surround myself with people that are in the middle of the bed with this stuff, people that are working the programme into their life, that are applying all the principles. For my experience alone, just attending meetings only kept me clean for so long. There was no change at all, mate. There was no change. It was just a case of when I was going to use again, you know what I mean. All my associations before were people connected with criminality at whatever level, fucking drug dealers, all that, and the day it's not like that. So I'll continue to try to change on a day-to-day basis, mate, and I hope everybody else on the meeting does the same. I wish you all the best. I'm grateful you're on clean. Cheers.
Thank you, John. Lovely to hear you. Very inspiring. And Joe, you can unmute.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, I'm Joe. I'm an addict.
Hi, Joe.
So it's that one bit of the line. I will be unafraid. You know, I'm early doors and I'm very fearful, you know, and anything that I try and do, you know, I'm still full of fear and it creates that anxiety. But if I practice the principle courage, you know, I'm still fearful. But if I just practice a wee bit of courage and then I kind of get through that fear, you know, it still kind of remains with me. But if I just keep practicing the courage, you know, because I think I'm more fearful of relapsing, of going back out to the life that I had. So I try and practice that principle courage. So I just wanted to add that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe. That's wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Joe. I once heard somebody share in a meeting that they was asked to do a share, and they said they was absolutely shitting themselves. It was in front of 100 people, and they was absolutely shitting themselves. But because of courage, they got up and they did it anyway. And then afterwards, they've got to a place of they realize the fear is an illusion. But it takes a while. We don't get it straight away, and it comes back, you know. And I'm just sharing my experience and what I've heard through the power of the program with people in meetings, with the thousands of meetings that I've done. The next line on number 8, which is, so long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear. One of the things I want to point out with the just for today, there's no we. There's no we in there. It's self, you know. The self is a sense of individual identity. That's what your self is. With a child, with a baby, when they're born, as they develop, they get a sense of identity, which is slightly different to some of our pets, because some of our pets, when they look in the mirror, they just see another dog. My dog, he sees another dog in the mirror, and until after a while he's learned it, he'll start barking at the dog. Babies are the same. It takes a while for us to get a sense of individual identity as we come into NA, but we're a small part of a big whole. We all have a role to play, and just as Joe just said so beautifully, we all have it's a bit like Quantum Leap. We all have a part to play. Someone's got to be the secretary. Somebody's got to be the treasurer, you know. Just because it always seems like the person who becomes the secretary of the meeting seems to be the one who's trying to prove that they're well, you know, but you see that after a while, you know. So, and that's what happens with us. We're all different personalities. Some of us are a bit more outspoken than others. Some of us are really obvious that we're quite clowns, you know, but the main thing is we all work together with this. And with that, I have nothing to fear, because when I walk into a meeting, I'm not with the enemy. I'm not nicked. I'm not around my family. You know, someone said the other day, treat your family like a bank robbery, get in and out quick. You know, it's like, family's good stuff, but when you're in NA, you can sit in the meeting and get to like 6 months clean, and the speaker can be talking and going on about some kind of nonsense, and you're not thinking about the bills, and you're not thinking, and before you know where you are, you fall asleep. It happens to a lot of us in meetings. We fall asleep. We're not using. It's just such a relief, and we're so safe, and we're safe in the power of the fellowship, you know. So I think we're basically at the end of the workshop. So is there, Paul, do you want to give some points or pick another question or ask anything for the meeting? Or
I don't think so. I would be really, we've got like a couple of minutes left. I'd really love, having gone through those 8 lines, if anybody has got any kind of overall thoughts about the significance of this reading or how much it means to them. I loved what I think Reg had said earlier about his sponsor says it's a mantra. Maybe just a kind of summing up, if someone would like to take that on.
Well, it's total direction.
I'm thinking I'd love to hear Louis' perspective on this, and Camilla. Okay, Camilla, you first, then Louis. Louis doesn't get a choice in the matter. Right, Camilla, you're up.
Thank you. For me, these 5 just for today's encapsulate the entire program of Narcotics Anonymous. If I can follow just these 5 things, I am well on my way to recovery. I'm not going to use today. One of my favorite long-timers said, I don't have to stay clean for the rest of my life. I only have to stay clean until midnight. I can make it till midnight. And after midnight, well, then it's a new day. And I just have to stay clean until midnight. And these 5 lines, I love them. They're part of my favorite part of our entire literature, because this tells me what I'm trying to achieve, where I'm trying to go, and how to get there. And it's all right there, step by step. This is all I have to do, these 5 just for today's. And it tells you only just for today. I don't have to future trip. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I don't have to worry about the rest of my life. I just have to worry about today. And so I have to tell myself, because I can't trust my own thinking. I have to tell myself something I know is true. And here it is right here, this just for today. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Camilla. I did have one great experience with one of these lines. I was in Paris visiting Louis, and I was really struggling with sponsorship at the time of my sponsor, and we were clashing, and it just wasn't. And Louis just turned around and said to me, today I'll have faith in someone who believes in me. And we applied that to the situation that I was in with sponsorship. You know, does that person really believe in me? And do I need to find someone who really believes in me? Do I need to be empowered? How can I be empowered? And just taking that section of that line just seemed to like not solve all my problems, but push me to a position where I was able to take action. Yeah. I think we're there. Thank you, Camilla, for that beautiful summing up. I think that encapsulated what we did tonight really beautifully. Frankie, final words?
It all comes out in a wash.
Wow, that Confucius says, that's kind of classic Aristotle there. It all comes out in a wash.
Totally. No, thanks everyone for this workshop this evening. Thank you all. I hope some of you understand that a lot of the things which I say is about being cantankerous, because what I've found that is if I say something that somebody will disagree with or rattle somebody, it's the person who's quiet, who's listening, who thinks. That's where the process is happening. All of this is all really, really beneficial. However, we always need the part where we need to join up, be together, go to a meeting, help somebody else. My recovery, honestly, really, really started the minute I started helping other people. It started with service, helping people, then after that, helping people. So I think the steps are not to be treated like an exam. They're just to be able to work out your own true self. And then, you know, we then start helping others. It's nice, Camilla said it, you know, it's I like to pull people up onto my level to be with me. I'm not trying to be the person in charge, because tomorrow I can be the idiot, you know. What was the old, I'll just leave it with this, Paul, what they used to say in the old days, you know, be kind to the guy on the, you know, from Park Lane, you know, be kind to the guy on the park bench, because one day he could be your sponsor. And I've seen that happen. So, yeah, I love you all. Thanks for being here. We've got another 4 of these till the end of the year, and we'll try and make some new shit up. Thanks.
Nice one, Frankie. Can we just unmute and thank Frankie, because that was a great bit of service from him tonight.
Thank you, Frankie.
Brilliant.
You.
Thanks,
Bravo. Merci.
And I see Russell's here as well. There's Jericho boys. Thank you, Jericho girls. Brilliant to see you.
Who has the commitment for the reading?
We're going to do the Just for Today reading. Yeah. Shall we finish with that? Have you got it, Matt? Or I could just screen share the one that's here. Jericho boys, you want to do it?
Hi, I'm Gary and I'm an addict.
Hi, Gary.
Tell yourself.
Just for today.
My thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs.
Just for today.
I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery.
Just for today.
I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability.
Just for today.
Through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life.
Just for today.
I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life.
So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Thanks for letting me read.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. Hang on, let's just stop. Shall we close with a prayer? Let me just get the long version up. This one works. Oh, you've got it here. Oh, let's just do it here. Brilliant. No, thank you.
Who had the 1 year?
Leslie, could you close the meeting for us with the Serenity prayer? If you've got anything, any reflections, anything you want to say before the prayer, feel free.
Who's in charge?
God, help me this day, accept the things I cannot change, and change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Thanks everyone, keep coming back.